Are you tired of struggling to find ways to differentiate within your classroom? We'll look no further than error analysis. It's going to be a method that's used to identify the cause of student errors when they make consistent mistakes. It's going to be the process of reviewing a student's work and looking for patterns of misunderstanding. When we think of error analysis, we think only of mathematics. But I'm here to tell you that there are ways for you to use it no matter what content area you teach. Error analysis presents students with a problem that has a step-by-step outline of what happened. But one, maybe two of those steps is going to have a mistake. And the student's job is to look and find out what that mistake was, explain how that mistake was made, and then actually go and fix the problem. According to Cheryl Jean Rushton, who's a professor over at Weber University, she says that error analysis is going to lead students to enact two standards of mathematical practice, namely to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them, and an attention to precision. Those are two big ideas for our math students and big ideas for all of our students. We want our students to be precise in details, no matter what content area we're in, whether that's the studying of facts in social studies or having proper grammar in English language arts. Regardless of that, we want our students to have a good attention to detail, and error analysis can help them get there. In addition to this, students learn to make valid arguments and comment on others' reasoning. Think about a Socratic seminar. You're analyzing someone else's argument, and you're responding to it. This provides some foundational tools to get your students there. So, error analysis in math is pretty straightforward. We're going to have a problem, and we're going to critique it based on the error that was made. In our first fraction problem, what we see is that the student fails to find the common denominator when adding or subtracting fractions. What this does is it makes students think like a teacher and use the language that we would use when describing the mistake. So instead of putting a big fat X over it, we can actually improve as students. What other ways can we use error analysis? Well, test corrections. Almost all middle and high school teachers do these now, and if you're doing them well, you're doing error analysis. Instead of your students saying, I guessed, you want your students to say why they picked that answer. Oh, well, I guessed C because I thought it was the best answer. And have them explain why. And then when they go back and give you a new answer, well, the correct answer was D. Ask them to show their work. Make them go look up in their textbook on the internet and find, hey, here is where I found the information, and this is why I now know that it's right. That's error analysis at work. In music, record yourself. Play it back, and then look. Well, 30 seconds in, I tried to play a B, and I did the hand motions for a C. By critically thinking, we can analyze the mistakes that we make. In English language arts, the misplaced comma, the misplaced semicolon. Well, maybe you shouldn't have even used a semicolon. By doing error analysis, we can improve in English language arts, improve our writing and social studies. And lastly, we can improve as teachers. We should be analyzing ourselves, critically thinking about patterns that we do. Maybe you say a lot. Well, you're not going to find out unless you record yourself, watch it back, and analyze your mistakes. It's okay. Error analysis is going to create a safe space for students to look at their mistakes and improve. But why should you use error analysis in your classroom? Well, there's plenty of resources that are already developed. If you don't want to make it yourself, you can find them online. Maybe you do want to make them yourself, but you don't know how. Well, here's a great way to start. In your classroom, you can use My Favorite Note, a very simple strategy where you pass out an entrance ticket to your students. You're going to work on their entrance ticket, pass it to the front, and you're just quickly going to flip through. And when you flip through, you're going to be looking for mistakes, incorrect answers. And when you find the one that's the most commonly occurring, set up your dot cam, show it to your students, sit back and listen. They're going to engage. They're going to say, oh, well, this is where they went wrong. This is why it happens. So instead of having 7 or 8 students that you have to explain it to, or spend valuable class time, students are going to be using error analysis to improve. Your gifted and advanced students are all going to be raising their hand for their turn to talk. And your on-level students who got that question wrong, some of your advanced students too who got that question wrong, are going to have that time to listen and to actually learn what mistakes they made. Error analysis is research-backed. There's been plenty of research done to show that by giving students incorrect problems and making them actually think about why it's incorrect, they're showing mastery. If you can explain every single part of a problem and why it's incorrect, then you can teach how to do the problem. And the last reason why you should use error analysis in your classroom? Well, because there are uses for it in every classroom. You're always going to find a way to improve your students' education by making them use error analysis and having them critically think. Well, error analysis is one of my favorite tools to use in my classroom. I thoroughly enjoy hearing my students argue about a math problem instead of arguing about who's got the best shoes today or who's dating who. It's a significantly better conversation, one that I promise you'll enjoy. So I hope that next year you use error analysis in your classroom, regardless of whether you teach math or not. If you need any tips, I've got resources provided for you, and you can always reach out to me for more. Thank you. Have a great day.